The crystal chamber floated in the darkness of space, massive and beautiful. Inside, beings from 47 different worlds sat in a great circle. Some had scales, others had fur, and some looked like nothing found on Earth. They were the Galactic Council, and today they were talking about humanity. Speaker Thalnax stood at the center. His forearms gestured as he spoke. His voice translated into every language. "The humans have gone too far," he said. "They expand without permission. They build weapons. They refuse our laws." On the viewing screens, images appeared. Human colony ships spreading across space. Human stations armed with missiles. Human leaders saying no to the Council's demands. The alien representatives watched and whispered to each other. "They are dangerous," Thalnax continued. "They are young and wild. If we do not stop them now, they will threaten us all." One by one, the species voted. Some voted no, saying humanity deserved a chance, but most voted yes. The final count was 39-8. The Council had decided. Earth would face corrective military action. That was the polite term. Everyone knew what it really meant. War. The Vanguard fleet would launch immediately. 3,000 warships from a dozen species, led by Commander Vraxis. He was a legend, a soldier who had never lost a battle. He would teach the humans their place. Far away, on Earth, Soman sat in her small office. She worked in intelligence, monitoring alien communications. Her screen suddenly lit up with an urgent message. It came from a contact, an alien who sympathized with humans. The message was short but terrifying. They voted for war. The fleet launches in 3 months. "I'm sorry." Someone's hands shook as she forwarded the message to Unified Command. Within minutes, alarms rang across Earth's military network. Within an hour, Admiral Nari sat in an emergency meeting with Earth's leaders. Nari was in her 50s, with gray hair and hard eyes. She had fought in the colony wars, the resource conflicts, and every major battle of the last 30 years. She was Earth's best military mind, but even she looked worried as she studied the numbers. 3,000 ships, she said quietly. "We have 800. Most of ours are patrol vessels, not warships." She looked around the table. "They outgun us 4-1, maybe worse." The room fell silent. President Kim spoke first. "What are our options?" "We can surrender," Nari said. "Or we can fight. What happens if we surrender?" Someone asked .NAR. I pulled up a document on the main screen. "The Council's terms, they'll disarm us completely. They'll control our expansion. They'll place governors on Earth and every colony. We'll be subjects, not citizens." "That's not surrender," President Kim said. "That's slavery." Nari nodded. "Then we fight." "Can we win?" the president asked. The admiral was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Probably not. But we can make them bleed for every inch. We can make them regret attacking us." The vote was quick. Earth would not bow. That night, Captain Taman stood on the observation deck of the Crimson Dawn. His ship was docked at Mars Orbital Station. Below, the red planet glowed in the darkness. Above, stars filled the sky. Taman was young for a captain, only 32. He had worked hard to earn his command. The Crimson Dawn was a destroyer, fast and tough. His crew was good, loyal, well-trained, but he knew what was coming. He had heard the rumors before the official announcement. His second officer, Donghae, joined him at the window. "Sir, the crew is asking questions," he said. "What should I tell them?" "Tell them the truth," Timon said. "We're going to war." Donghae was 24, the youngest pilot in the fleet. He had a reputation for being cocky, but he was also the best shot Timon had ever seen. The young man nodded slowly. "Are we going to die, sir?" Timon looked at him. "Maybe, probably, but we're going to take a lot of them with us." Back on Earth, in a huge underground facility, Yunwu typed frantically on his keyboard. Around him, hundreds of engineers worked on different projects. Yunwu was in charge of Project Tombstone, Earth's secret defense network. The idea was simple but massive. They would turn the entire solar system into a weapon. Mines in the outer reaches. Hidden weapons in the asteroid belt. Satellites disguised as debris. Every planet, every moon, every rock would be part of the defense. "We need more time," Hinwu said to his assistant. "We need 6 months, maybe a year." "We have 3 months," his assistant replied. Yunwu rubbed his tired eyes. He had not slept in 2 days. "Then we work faster." Admiral Nari visited the facility a week later. She walked through the control center with Hyunwoo, looking at the plans. "Can you finish in time?" she asked. "I don't know," Hyunwoo admitted. "Some systems yes, others no. We're doing our best." Nari put a hand on his shoulder. "That's all I ask. Do your best. Make them pay for every kilometer." Across Earth, the military mobilized. Reserves were called up. Civilian ships were seized and armed. Factories switched to making missiles and bullets. Commander Minho trained ground troops in every city, preparing for the worst. If the aliens broke through in space, they would face hell on the surface. On the news, reporters showed the preparations. Some people panicked. Some people protested, saying Earth should negotiate. But most people were angry. The Council had no right to tell humanity what to do. Earth was humanity's home. No one would take it without a fight. Captain Taman took the Crimson Dawn out for training exercises. His crew ran combat drills day and night. Dr. Jiwan, the ship's medical officer, prepared her sickbay for casualties. She stocked extra supplies, set up extra beds, and trained every spare crew member in basic first aid. "We're going to need all the help we can get," she told Taman one evening. "I know," he said. "Thank you for being here." Jiwan smiled sadly. "Where else would I be? These people are my family." As Earth prepared, long-range sensors picked up the enemy fleet. They were coming, moving through space like a dark cloud. 3,000 ships, armed and ready. They expected an easy victory. They expected humanity to break. They were very wrong. In our office, Admiral Nari studied star charts and battle plans. She knew the odds. She knew how this would probably end. But she also knew humanity. They were stubborn. They were clever. They were dangerous when cornered. She opened a channel to every ship, every station, every base. Her face appeared on a million screens. "This is Admiral Nari," she said. "In 3 months, maybe less, the enemy will arrive. They think we're weak. They think we'll surrender. They're wrong. We will show them what humanity really is. We will show them that freedom is not given, it's taken. And we will make them pay for every inch of our home." The channel closed. Across the solar system, soldiers, sailors, and citizens prepared for war. They cleaned weapons. They said goodbyes. They made peace with what was coming. The Council had ordered Earth's invasion. They thought it would be simple. They thought humanity would fall quickly. They were about to learn a hard lesson. Humanity did not fall easily. And when pushed, humanity pushed back harder than anyone expected. The countdown had begun. 2 months had passed. Earth had transformed into something the galaxy had never seen before. Every orbital station bristled with weapons. Every asteroid had been mapped, tagged, and turned into a potential bomb. The moon's surface was scarred with new construction, hiding massive railguns beneath fake craters. Yunwu barely left the control center anymore. He slept in a small room next to his workstation, showered quickly, and went right back to work. His team had installed thousands of automated systems throughout the solar system. Mines drifted in the Kuiper Belt. Satellites hid in Saturn's rings. Missile platforms floated disguised as space junk. "How many are active?" Admiral Nari asked during one of her visits. Hyunwoo pulled up a display. 70%. Maybe 75. We're adding more every day. He looked exhausted but determined. The outer belt is ready. The middle zones need another week. You have 5 days, Nari said. Hai and Wu nodded. He did not argue. There was no point. The enemy fleet was already at the edge of the solar system. On Mars, Captain Tiemann gathered his crew in the mess hall. The Crimson Dawn was fully armed now, loaded with every missile and bullet they could carry. The ship hummed with power, ready for battle. "Listen up," Tiemann said. His voice was calm but firm. "We're on the front line. We'll see them first. We'll hit them first." He paused, looking at each face. "A lot of us won't make it back. I'm not going to lie to you, but every ship we destroy is one less that reaches Earth." Donghei stood up. "We're with you, Captain." "All of us," the crew cheered. They were scared. Tiemann could see it in their eyes. But they were also ready. Dr. Jiwan had turned the medical bay into a mini-hospital. She had 4 assistants now and enough supplies to handle 50 casualties. She hoped it would be enough. She feared it would not be. "Doctor," a young ensign asked her, "what's it like?" "Combat, I mean." Jiwan thought about her time in the colony wars. The blood, the screaming, the feeling of helplessness. "It's chaos," she said honestly. "But we do our job. We save who we can. That's all we can do." On Earth, Commander Minho watched as thousands of soldiers loaded into transport ships. His job was to prepare for invasion. If the space battle failed, enemy troops would land on Earth. Minho's forces would be waiting. They had fortified major cities. They had built bunkers and shelters. They had armed civilians who volunteered. Old veterans came out of retirement. Factory workers learned to shoot. Students joined militia groups. "We'll make them fight for every street," Minho told his officers. Every building. Every room. His second in command, a tough woman named Yuna, nodded. "The people are ready. They're angry." "Good," Minho said. "Anger will keep them alive." Admiral Nari stood in Earth's command center, a massive room filled with screens and computers. Every defense system was linked here. She could see everything. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier. It was overwhelming, but she had trained for this her entire life. "Admiral, enemy fleet detected at Neptune," a technician called out. Nari looked at the main screen. Red dots appeared, thousands of them. The Vanguard fleet had arrived. "All ships to battle stations," she ordered. "Activate outer defenses." Across the solar system, weapons systems came online. In the Kuiper Belt, hidden mines activated their sensors. Near Neptune, dormant satellites woke up. And at Jupiter, Captain Taman's battle group moved into position. "Here we go," Donghei whispered from his pilot's seat. The enemy fleet moved confidently. Commander Vratzis sat in his flagship's command chair, reviewing the tactical display. Earth's forces looked pathetic compared to his mighty fleet. He saw a few hundred ships near Jupiter, probably their entire defensive line. "Prepare to engage," Vratzis ordered. "Standard formation. We'll crush them quickly." His fleet advanced. They did not know about the mines. The first explosions caught them completely by surprise. Ships at the rear of the formation simply vanished in bright flashes. Then more explosions. Then hundreds. "Report," Vratzis shouted. "Mines, sir." Thousands of them. They were dormant, undetectable. Evasive action. Activate point defense. But the mines were too many and too fast. They were not sophisticated weapons, just chunks of metal with small engines. But they had been launched months ago, accelerated to incredible speeds. At those velocities, they did not need explosives. Kinetic energy alone was enough to punch through shields and armor. By the time the Vanguard fleet cleared the minefield, 400 ships were gone. Raxus stared at the damage report in disbelief. How did they... Sir, enemy ships approaching from Jupiter. Captain Taman led his squadron into the attack. They came fast, using Jupiter's gravity to slingshot themselves toward the enemy. The Crimson Dawn fired missiles, dozens of them, targeting the disorganized alien formation. All ships, pick your targets, Taman ordered. Hit them while they're confused. The battle was brutal. Alien ships had better weapons and stronger shields, but they were clustered together, still recovering from the Maya attack. Human ships darted between them like wolves among sheep, firing and retreating, never staying still. Donghei's fighter squadron screamed through the chaos. His hands moved on the controls like he was playing music. He locked onto an alien cruiser, fired his missiles, and pulled away as the ship exploded. "That's 3, he shouted. "Stay focused," Taman replied. "Don't get cocky." The Crimson Dawn shuddered as enemy fire hit the shields. Warning lights flashed. In the medical bay, Dr. Jiwan grabbed onto a wall as the ship shook. "Casualties incoming," someone shouted. Wounded crew members began arriving. Burns, broken bones. One man had a metal shard in his chest. Jiwan moved quickly, treating the worst cases first, directing her team with quick orders. The space battle raged for 6 hours. Taman lost 11 ships from his group. Hundreds of good people died, but they destroyed twice as many enemy vessels. Finally, Admiral Nari gave the order. "All ships, fall back to Mars. Repeat, fall back to Mars." The human ships retreated. The alien fleet pursued, thinking they had won. Commander Vraxis was furious about his losses but confident. He still had over 2,000 ships. The humans were running. Victory was close. "Chase them down," he ordered. "Don't let them regroup." The Vanguard fleet followed the humans through the asteroid belt. That was their second mistake. In his control center, Hyunwoo watched the enemy ships enter the kill zone. "Activate belt defenses," he said quietly. The asteroid belt erupted. Weapons platforms that had looked like ordinary rocks suddenly revealed themselves. Railguns fired. Missiles launched. Laser batteries lit up the darkness. The automated systems Hyunwoo had built worked perfectly, creating overlapping fields of fire. The alien ships tried to scatter, but there was nowhere to go. Asteroids exploded around them, throwing debris at deadly speeds. Hidden mines detonated. The belt had become a grinder, chewing up everything that entered. Vraxis watched in horror as hundreds more ships died. "Who planned this?" he roared. "These humans are animals, barbarians. How are they doing this?" His tactical officer looked terrified. "Sir, we've lost 40% of the fleet. We should withdraw and—" "No." Vraxis slammed his fist down. "We do not retreat. We push forward. Earth will burn for this." The Vanguard fleet fought through the belt, taking horrible casualties. But they kept coming. They were angry now. This was supposed to be simple. It was supposed to be easy. These humans were making them look like fools. By the time they reached Mars, the alien fleet had been cut nearly in half. But they still outnumbered the humans. And they were done playing nice. "Begin bombardment of Earth," Vraxis ordered. "Long-range missiles. Target their cities." On Earth, sirens wailed. People ran for shelters. Commander Minho's troops moved into position. And in space, Admiral Nari watched the missiles launch. "It's time," she said. "Activate the sleeper ships." Hidden throughout the solar system, small vessels suddenly came to life. They had been drifting for weeks, pretending to be debris or disabled hulks. Each one had a small crew and a massive payload. Captain Hai-Jin sat in her cockpit, hands on the controls. Her ship was one of the sleepers. She had volunteered for this mission. She knew how it would end. "This is Sleeper 7, she reported. "In position. Ready to execute." All across the solar system, similar voices reported in. 27 sleeper ships, all in position, all behind enemy lines. Admiral Nari took a deep breath. These were good people. Brave people. They were about to die to save millions. "All sleeper ships," she said. "You have permission to engage. May your sacrifice light the way home." Hai-Jin smiled. "See you on the other side," she whispered. Then she pushed the throttle forward and accelerated toward the nearest enemy capital ship. The sleeper ships moved silently through space. They were small, barely 50 meters long, with minimal weapons and weak shields. But each one carried something deadly in its belly. Antimatter. Enough to turn a warship into vapor. Captain Hai-Jin watched her target grow larger on the screen. It was a massive alien battleship, easily 10 times her size. Its shields glowed blue. Its weapons could destroy her ship with one shot. But those weapons were pointed at Earth, not at small debris behind them. 10 seconds, she said to herself. Her crew was just 2 others, both volunteers. They sat quietly, making peace with what came next. The alien ship's sensors finally detected her. Too late. Hai-Jin slammed the throttle forward and crashed directly into the battleship's engine section. For a brief moment, antimatter met matter. The explosion was like a tiny sun being born. The battleship simply ceased to exist. The shockwave destroyed 3 nearby ships, dot all around the Vanguard fleet. The same scene repeated. 27 sleeper ships became 27 explosions. 27 brave crews gave their lives. And 27 critical enemy vessels died with them. Commander Vraxis felt his flagship shake from a nearby blast. On his screen, capital ships were vanishing. His command structure was collapsing. Officers were shouting, trying to restore order, but there was chaos everywhere. "Return fire! Find those ships!" Vraxis roared. "They're gone, sir," someone replied. They were suicide ships. Vraxis had fought in 50 wars. He had conquered dozens of planets. He had never seen anything like this. These humans did not fight like civilized beings. They fought like cornered animals, willing to die to take their enemies with them. "All ships, defensive formation," he ordered. "Regroup at, sir. Enemy ships incoming. Multiple vectors." Captain Tiemann led the charge. The Crimson Dawn was scarred and battered. Half its weapons offline, shields at 30%. But its engines still worked. Its missiles still fired. And its crew still had fight left in them. "All ships, full attack," Tiemann ordered. "They're disorganized. Hit them now." The remains of Earth's fleet crashed into the alien formation. It was not graceful or strategic. It was desperate, brutal close combat. Ships fired at point-blank range. Ramming became a viable tactic when ammunition ran low. Dong Hae's fighter was damaged, running on emergency power. His left engine was dead. His weapons were overheating. But he saw an alien cruiser targeting a human medical ship full of wounded. "No, you don't," he muttered. He aimed his dying fighter at the cruiser and fired his remaining missiles. They hit the cruiser's bridge. Then Dong Hae rammed his fighter into the ship's side, his ejection system broken. The cruiser exploded. The medical ship escaped. Dong Hae did not. On the Crimson Dawn, Tiemann saw the explosion. He knew Dong Hae's fighter signature. His hands tightened on the command chair. There would be time to grieve later. If there was a later. Target that carrier. Full spread. The ship rocked as enemy fire hit them. In medical, Dr. Jiwon was thrown against a wall. Around her, injured crew members cried out. One of her assistants was dead, killed by flying debris. She ignored her own pain and kept working. "Hold still," she told a young ensign with a terrible burn. "I've got you. Are we winning, Doctor?" The ensign asked through his pain. G1 did not know. She could not see outside. She could only feel the ship shaking and hear the alarms. "We're still fighting," she said. "That's what matters." The battle raged for hours. Ships died by the dozens. Human vessels were smaller and weaker, but they fought with a fury that shocked the aliens. Every human ship that died took at least one enemy with it. Some took 3 or 4. Admiral Nari watched from Earth's command center. The display showed red markers disappearing as ships died. Both sides were bleeding. But the math was simple and terrible. Earth was running out of ships. "Admiral, the Thunder King is gone," a technician reported. "The Morning Star is critical. The Valiant is requesting permission to ram." Nari closed her eyes briefly. So many dead. So many brave people. Permission granted. "Tell them we're proud of them." The Valiant turned toward an alien dreadnought and accelerated. Its captain broadcast one final message for Earth. Then the ship struck home, its reactor exploding and taking the dreadnought with it. Commander Vraxis was trapped in a nightmare. His mighty fleet was being torn apart. These humans should have surrendered. They should have begged for mercy. Instead, they were killing his ships with a savage efficiency that defied logic. "Sir, we've lost 60% of the fleet," an officer reported. "We must retreat." "No!" Vraxis shouted. But even he could see the truth. This invasion had failed. The Council had sent 3,000 ships to crush Earth. Barely 1,000 remained. And they were still losing. "All ships, begin withdrawal," he finally ordered. The words tasted like poison. "Fall back to outer system." The surviving alien ships turned and fled. The humans chased them as far as they could, destroying stragglers. But most escaped. Earth simply did not have enough ships left to finish them. On the Crimson Dawn, Taman slumped in his chair. They had survived. Somehow, they had survived. "Damage report," he said tiredly. "Hull breaches on 3 decks. Engines at 40%. Weapons mostly offline. Casualties." The officer paused. 170 dead or wounded. Out of 300 crew. Taman felt sick. Over half his people were dead or hurt. Every ship was reporting similar losses. The victory had cost them everything. "Medical, this is the captain. How bad is it down there?" Dr. Jiwan's voice came through, exhausted. "Bad, really bad. I need help. I need supplies. I need..." Her voice cracked. "I need more than I have." "Help is coming," Taman promised. "You did good, Doctor. You saved a lot of lives." "Not enough," G1 whispered. But she kept working. As the battle ended, both sides counted their losses. The Vanguard fleet had been devastated. Of 3,000 ships, barely 800 survived to escape. Those ships were damaged, low on ammunition, their morale shattered, but Earth had paid a terrible price. Of 800 human ships, only 200 still functioned. Major cities had been hit by long-range bombardment. Millions were dead. The orbital stations were wrecked. The solar system was full of debris and bodies. In the command center, Admiral Nari received reports from across the system. Each one was worse than the last. But then, slowly, other reports came in. The alien fleet was really retreating. They were leaving the solar system. "We won," someone said quietly. "We survived," Nari corrected. "That's not the same thing." But it was enough. The invasion had failed. Earth stood, battered and bleeding, but unbroken. Then the long-range sensors picked up something. Commander Vraxis's flagship was not retreating. It had turned around and was heading straight for Earth at maximum speed. "Get me his ship," Nari demanded. The connection was established. Vraxis's face appeared, burned and bloodied. His eyes were wild. "You think you've won?" he snarled. "You think you've beaten me? I'll show you what defeat looks like." "What are you doing?" Nari asked. "My ship is damaged. My career is over. My reputation is destroyed." Vraxis laughed, a horrible sound. "So I'm taking your capital with me. My flagship will crash into your planet. Everyone in the impact zone will die. Millions of your people." Nari's face went pale. She looked at the trajectory. He was right. The massive warship would hit near the Pacific coast. The death toll would be catastrophic. "Engineering, can we stop him?" "No, Admiral. We don't have enough functional weapons. The impact will hit in 40 minutes. Nari stared at the screen. After everything, after all the sacrifices, they were going to lose millions more. It was not fair. It was not right. On the Crimson Dawn, Captain Tiemann heard the emergency broadcast. He looked at his ship's status. They were barely functional. Most of his crew was dead or wounded. They had done their part. They had earned their rest, but Vraxis's ship would hit land. Tiemann called up the population data. 23 million people lived in the impact zone. 23 million. He thought about Donghei's sacrifice, about Haijin and the sleeper crews, about every soldier who had died protecting Earth. "Engineering, can we move?" he asked. "Barely, sir. We've got one engine left. Can we reach that flagship?" There was a long pause. "Yes, but sir, we don't have enough weapons to stop it. And if we get close—" "I know," Tiemann said quietly. He understood. He opened a channel to all remaining crew. "This is the captain. We have one more mission. It's volunteer only. Everyone who wants to evacuate, head to the escape pods now. I won't think less of you." No one moved. Dr. Jiwan came to the bridge, her medical coat stained with blood. "I'm staying," she said simply. "Me too," said the engineer. One by one, the remaining crew confirmed. 73 people, all that was left of 300. All choosing to stay. "Then let's finish this," Tiemann said. He pointed the Crimson Dawn toward the alien flagship and pushed the engine to maximum. The Crimson Dawn limped through space, its one working engine struggling. Smoke filled several corridors. Fires burned in sections they could not reach. But the ship was moving, and that was all that mattered. Captain Tiemann sat in his chair, watching the alien flagship grow larger on the screen. It was massive, easily 100 times the size of his destroyer. Its hull was scarred from battle, venting atmosphere in places, but it was still deadly. And it was still heading for Earth. "Time to impact?" Tiemann asked. 35 minutes, his navigator replied. "The flagship will enter atmosphere in 28 minutes. And us? We can intercept in 20 minutes. Maybe 19 if we push the engine past safe limits." "Do it," Tiemann ordered. We didn't come this far to be late. Throughout the ship, the remaining crew prepared. In engineering, 2 technicians worked to squeeze every bit of power from the dying engine. In weapons control, the officer armed their last missiles, knowing they would not be enough. In medical, Dr. Jiwan secured everything, though she knew it would not matter soon. She thought about her family. Her parents were in Seoul. Her sister had 2 children. They might all die if the flagship hit Earth. Jiwan had joined the military to protect people. This was just the final step. "Doctor?" a young crew member asked. "Are you scared?" Jiwan smiled. "Yes, but I'm also proud. We're saving millions of people. That's worth being scared for. On Earth, People watched the sky. They knew what was coming. The alien flagship was visible now, a bright point of light falling toward them. In the impact zone, some people tried to evacuate, but there was not enough time. Highways were jammed. Trains were full. Many simply went home, wanting to be with family when the end came. Commander Minho stood on a rooftop in Seoul, watching. His soldiers surrounded him, all looking up. He had spent months preparing to fight invaders on the ground. Now it would not matter. The impact would kill them all instantly. "Sir," one of his lieutenants said. "It's been an honor." "Same," Minho replied. There was nothing else to say. In the command center, Admiral Nari watched multiple screens. One showed the alien flagship. Another showed the Crimson Dawn's intercept course. A third showed casualty projections, 23 million dead. "Come on, Taemin," she whispered. "You can do it." President Kim stood beside her. "Will his ship be enough to stop it?" Nari shook her head. "No, but he can slow it down. Maybe change the trajectory. Make the impact less severe, so people will still die. Yes, but maybe millions fewer." On the Crimson Dawn, Taemin opened a channel to all of Earth's frequencies. His face appeared on every screen, every device. People in shelters saw him. Soldiers preparing to die saw him. Families holding each other saw him. "This is Captain Taemin of the Earth defense ship Crimson Dawn," he said. His voice was calm and steady. "We see the enemy flagship. We're on an intercept course. To everyone in the impact zone, get to the lowest, strongest shelter you can find. To everyone else, remember this day. Remember what we're fighting for." He paused, looking at his remaining crew on the bridge. "It's been an honor serving with you all." The channel closed. Commander Vraxis saw the human destroyer approaching. He laughed, a bitter sound. "They think one small ship can stop me. Pathetic. These humans learn nothing. Sir, should we fire on them?" His weapons officer asked. "No, let them come. Let them see how useless their sacrifice is." The Crimson Dawn closed the distance. 15 minutes. 10 minutes. 5. "All hands, brace for impact," Taemin ordered. He looked at Dr. Jiwon, who had come to the bridge. She stood beside his chair, calm and ready. "No regrets?" He asked her. "Only that we couldn't save everyone," she replied. Taemin nodded. "Fire all weapons." The Crimson Dawn unleashed everything it had left. Missiles streaked toward the flagship. Railguns fired until the barrels glowed red. Even small arms fire, pointless as it was directed at the enemy ship. It was defiance. It was rage. It was humanity refusing to accept defeat. The weapons struck the flagship shields. They barely made a dent. "It's not enough," the weapons officer said. "I know," Taemin replied. "We need to get closer." Helm, ramming speed. "Sir, ramming speed with the reactor set to overload?" "Yes, one last surprise for them." The engineer nodded and began the overload sequence. The ship's reactor, already damaged, began to build up energy beyond safe limits. It would explode. The only question was when. On Earth, Hyunwoo watched from his control center. He had built Earth's defenses. He had turned the solar system into a weapon. But he had nothing left that could help. All his weapons were depleted or destroyed. He could only watch as Captain Taemin made his final approach. "Come on," Hyunwoo said. "Come on." The Crimson Dawn struck the flagship shields. The small destroyer pushed against the massive warship like an ant pushing against an elephant. But the ant was angry, and the ant had a bomb in its belly. "Reactor at 200%, the engineer called out. 300. 400. "Sir, we're going to explode in 30 seconds. "Good," Taemin said. "Helm, full thrust. Push this monster off course." The ship groaned. Metal screamed. But it pushed. The massive flagship's trajectory changed, just slightly. 1 degree. 2 degrees. It was not much, but it was something. 20 seconds to reactor failure. The engineer said. Commander Vraxis finally understood. They're going to explode. Evasive action. But his ship was too big, too slow, too damaged. It could not maneuver quickly. 10 seconds. Taney opened one final channel to Admiral Nari. Admiral, trajectory changed by 3 degrees. Impact will be in the ocean, 200 kilometers from shore. Nari's voice came back, thick with emotion. Confirmed. You did it, Captain. You saved them. It was an honor, ma'am, Teeman replied. He looked at his crew. They were all at their stations, already. See you all on the other side. The reactor reached critical mass. The Crimson Dawn exploded with the force of a nuclear weapon. The blast tore through the flagship's weakened shields and ripped into its hull. The massive warship broke apart, its pieces tumbling. The largest piece hit the Pacific Ocean, 200 kilometers from land. The impact created a tsunami 30 meters high. Coastal areas were damaged. Thousands died. But the major cities were spared. 23 million people lived because of 73 who died. On Earth, people watched the impact. They saw the explosion in space. They saw the tsunami hit empty ocean instead of crowded cities. In Seoul, Commander Minho and his soldiers watched the wave crash harmlessly against distant shores. They did it, Minho whispered. Those magnificent bastards did it. In shelters across the impact zone, millions of people emerged. They've been certain they would die. Instead, they lived. They looked up at the sky where the Crimson Dawn had been and wept. Admiral Nari stood in the command center, tears on her face. Around her, her staff was crying, cheering, or just sitting in stunned silence. They had won. The cost was horrible, but they had won. President Kim put a hand on her shoulder. We'll remember them. All of them. Yes, Nari said. We will. In the debris field where the Crimson Dawn had been, rescue ships searched for survivors. They found none. The ship had been completely destroyed. But they found the nameplate, a twisted piece of metal with the ship's name still legible. Admiral Nari ordered it preserved. It would become the centerpiece of a memorial. The surviving alien ships fled the solar system. They had come with 3,000 vessels. Fewer than 800 limped home. Commander Vraxis was dead. Thousands of alien soldiers were dead. And humanity still stood. On distant worlds, news of the battle spread. The Galactic Council had sent their fleet to teach humanity a lesson. Instead, humanity had taught them one. You do not invade Earth. You do not threaten humanity's home. The price is too high. The solar system was full of wreckage. Human and alien ships floated among asteroids and debris. Bodies drifted in the void. The scars of battle marked every planet, every moon. It would take years to recover, but Earth had survived. Battered, bleeding, grieving, but alive. And the galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. 3 weeks had passed since the battle ended. Earth was in mourning. Every city held memorial services. Every street had candles lit in windows. The dead numbered in the millions, soldiers, sailors, civilians. Entire families had been erased. Entire ships had vanished. Admiral Nari walked through the temporary cemetery outside. So, row after row of graves stretched as far as she could see. These were just the ones they had found bodies for. Thousands more were lost in space, drifting forever. She stopped at one grave. The marker read, Captain Teeman, the Crimson Dawn, hero of Earth. Beside it were 72 more markers, one for each crew member who had died with him. Fresh flowers covered every grave. I'm sorry, Nari whispered. I'm sorry I sent you to die." "They volunteered," a voice said behind her. She turned to see Commander Minho. His uniform was dirty, his face tired. He had been helping with rescue and recovery for weeks. I talked to some of their families. They all said the same thing. Their people chose to fight, chose to protect Earth. Does that make it easier? Nari asked. No, but it makes it meaningful. They stood together in silence. Two soldiers among thousands of graves, not far away. In the crystal chamber of the Galactic Council, an emergency session was taking place. The chamber was quieter than usual. Many representatives looked shocked. Some looked ashamed. A few looked frightened. Speaker Thalnax stood at the center. He was the one who had called for war. Now he had to explain the disaster. "The invasion has failed," he said quietly. "Of the 3,000 ships we sent, only 784 returned. 22,000 alien soldiers are dead. Commander Vraxis is dead." The chamber erupted. Representatives shouted in dozens of languages. Some blamed Thalnax. Others blamed Vraxis. A few brave ones suggested that maybe humanity had been right to resist. "Order!" Thalnax shouted. "We must decide our next course of action." "What action?" one representative asked. "Send another fleet? So they can destroy that one too?" "The humans fought like demons," another said. "They turned their entire star system into a weapon. They sacrificed themselves without hesitation. What kind of beings do that?" "Free beings," a quiet voice said. Everyone turned. It was Councillor Marn, one of the 8 who had voted against the war. Beings defending their home. Beings who refuse to be slaves. "They're savages." Thalmax protested. "They're survivors," Mar replied. "We made a terrible mistake. We assumed they would break easily. We were wrong. Now we must live with the consequences." The debate continued for hours. Some wanted revenge. Others wanted peace. A few wanted to pretend the whole thing never happened. Finally, they agreed on one thing. They needed to talk to Earth. On Earth, Humu was rebuilding. His control center had survived the battle mostly intact. Now he was working on repairing the defense systems. Many had been destroyed or depleted. But he was already designing improvements. "We need to be ready," he told his team. They might come back. But a part of him doubted it. He had seen the recordings. He had watched the alien fleet break and run. They had been so confident at first. By the end, they were terrified. Maybe Earth had won more than just a battle dot in orbit. Crews were salvaging what they could from destroyed ships. Every piece of metal was valuable now. Every working component was needed. The debris field was so large it would take years to clear. Among the wreckage, they found alien technology. Weapons more advanced than Earth's. Shield generators. Faster engines. Admiral Nari ordered it all studied. If the Council came back, humanity would be ready. And maybe next time, humanity would have better tools. The message from the Council arrived without warning. It was a simple transmission. The Galactic Council requests dialogue with Earth. We propose a meeting at Neutral Space Station, Alpha 7. President Kim read the message with Admiral Nari and her advisors. "What do you think?" he asked. "Is it a trap?" Nari considered. "Possibly. But I think they're scared. We destroyed their fleet. We killed thousands of their best soldiers. They know they underestimated us. So what do? "We talk," Nari said. "But we talk from a position of strength." 2 weeks later, Admiral Nari arrived at Station Alpha 7. She brought Commander Minho and a full security detail. She wore her uniform, decorated with medals. The scars on her face from years of combat were visible. She wanted the Council to see exactly who they were dealing with. The station was neutral ground, operated by independent traders. The meeting room was simple: a table, chairs, and viewing screens. The Galactic Council sent representatives from every species. They looked uncomfortable. Speaker Thalnax was there, though he no longer looked confident. His forearms were held close to his body, a sign of nervousness in his species. "Admiral Nari, thank you for coming. Let's skip the pleasantries," Nari said, sitting down. "You tried to invade Earth. You failed. What do you want now?" Thalnax flinched. The Council wishes to discuss terms." "Peace terms? You mean surrender terms?" Minho said coldly. "Not surrender. Understanding." Thalnax pulled up footage from the battle. It showed the minefields, the ambushes, the suicide ships, the Crimson Dawn's final attack. "We did not understand what we were facing. We thought you were just another species to be managed. We were wrong." "Yes, you were," Nari agreed. Councillor Marn spoke up. "We have watched your battle recordings. All of them. Your tactics. Your sacrifices. Your refusal to surrender, even when defeat seems certain." She paused. "You fight like you have nothing to lose." "Why?" Nari leaned forward. "Because we do have something to lose. We have everything to lose. Earth is our home. Our only home. You have dozens of worlds, thousands of ships, millions of soldiers. You can afford to lose a battle. We can't. So when we fight with everything we have." The Council representatives looked at each other. Finally, Thalnax spoke. "The Council offers Earth full sovereign status. No interference. No restrictions on expansion. No governors. You will be equal members of the galactic community." "And if we refuse?" Nari asked. "Then we leave you alone. We will not attack again." Nari smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "You won't attack because you can't afford to. You lost half your fleet. Your people are afraid. You know that if you come at us again, we'll make it even worse for you." Thalnax said nothing. His silence was confirmation. "Here are our terms," Nari said. "Full sovereign status, yes. Equal membership in the Council, yes. But also, free trade rights, access to Council technology for peaceful purposes, and reparations for the damage you caused. 3 million humans died. You're going to help us rebuild. That's generous compared to what you could demand," Marn said quietly. "We don't want to conquer anyone," Nari replied. "We just want to be left alone to live our lives. But if anyone threatens us again, we'll show them what we showed you. Earth is a tomb for those who attack it." The negotiations took 3 days. In the end, both sides signed the treaty. Earth became a full member of the Galactic Council with all rights and protections. The Council would provide technology and resources to help Earth rebuild. And most importantly, Earth's sovereignty was guaranteed. When Nari returned to Earth, millions came out to see her. She was a hero. She had stood up to the entire galaxy and won. But she did not feel like celebrating. That night she visited the memorial again. It was complete now, a massive ring of metal in orbit around Earth. The wreckage from both fleets had been formed into a circle, a permanent reminder. At its center, the Crimson Dawn's nameplate floated, lit by spotlights. "We won," Nari said to the memorial. "You can rest now." Inside the ring were names. 50,000 humans who had died in the battle. Every soldier, every sailor, every civilian caught in bombardments. Timin's name was there. Donghei's, Hygien's, all of them. Future generations would see this memorial and remember. Earth had been attacked. Earth had defended itself. And Earth had taught the galaxy a lesson. Humanity bows to no one. On alien worlds, parents told their children about the battle. "Never attack Earth," they said. "The humans fight like it's their last day alive." Because for many of them, it is. The story spread. The species that turns its home into a fortress. The beings who use their own bodies as weapons. The people who refuse to surrender. Humanity for the win, they said. HFY. Years passed. Earth rebuilt. The scars faded, though they never disappeared completely. New ships were built, better ships incorporating alien technology. New defenses were constructed. Earth prepared for the future, but the galaxy remembered. They remembered the Vanguard fleet's defeat. They remembered Commander Vraxis's mistake. Most of all, they remembered the Crimson Dawn and its captain, who chose to die so millions could live. The Council had ordered Earth's invasion. They had sent their best ships and their finest warriors. They had expected an easy victory. Instead, humanity made the solar system a tomb for their ambitions, and Earth stood free, unbowed, a warning to anyone who might think of attacking again. Come if you want. Come with your fleets and your weapons. But know this, you will pay in blood for every inch. And in the end, we will still be standing, because that's what humans do. They survive. They adapt. They fight. And they never, ever give up. The galaxy had learned. Earth was not to be trifled with. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through submission, but through strength. The war was over. The future was bright, and humanity would face it together, forever free.